The neighborhood really always protected me over the years. This is the first time ever this store has been burglarized.
A sad sight on the west side today. George's Music Room, the iconic storefront that served the neighborhood for decades, completely trashed by vandals and thieves. Though he shut the doors 3 years ago, owner George Daniels told me he'd been planning to reopen the store, which is why it was not empty.
And when I look back at what I did in this community, you know, I guess I felt like, you know, maybe I'm a little special, so what happened to me, but I found out different.
George Daniels and his son are sifting through the mess left by vandals who broke in through an empty apartment above his shuttered store, since they couldn't get past the metal security gates on the ground floor. They worked hard to get to the store that he worked hard to achieve in the late 60s.
Like, that's 3-inch, 4-inch concrete.
In its heyday, George's Music Room hosted the biggest names in the industry, many before they hit it big, as he told me 10 years ago.
If you show these artists attention at the beginning of their careers, they never forget, because in most cases, people just walk past them.
It was a bright spot in a bleak business landscape, recognized by all as doing more than just selling music. There were the huge back-to-school events every year.
How about Aaliyah? We brought the best of the best over here.
The Christmas toy drives. This was a place offering possibilities.
I pride myself on the fact that everybody that worked for me, they had to be at least a sophomore in high school, and they walked to work because they lived in the neighborhood.
The thieves left behind most of the memorabilia, a photo at the White House, countless signed posters.
LL Cool J, Tyrese, Slick Rick, the Ghetto Boys, Mary J. Blige, Alicia Keys.
Passers-by today were hopeful when they saw our cameras and George Daniels. They remember when the velvet ropes kept the lines to meet the stars they could hardly believe would come to Lawndale.
We pray that George reopen George's Music Room.
But George isn't so sure the reopening he's dreamed of can survive the new reality of this neighborhood.
I don't want to give up on the community, I swear, but this is almost like the last straw.
On the other hand, the guy who turned a tiny independent record store into one of the most influential music retailers in the country is not a quitter.
It hurts more than anything else. It was hard to keep him crying, but I'll get it back, I'll get it back.
I cannot at this moment predict whether or not he will reopen. The block itself, the several blocks there, look worse than they did 10 years ago. There's not another viable business on either side of him. The economy has, you know, when you're already, you know, not a rich neighborhood to begin with.
It's not easy to start from scratch.
No, it's not. But it's such an iconic institution that classes, music classes, historians might be interested in sort of, you know, cataloging and compiling the history of it and some of that vinyl that's in there. But he was really hurt today.
And his own history is so fascinating. I know that at one point he went down south when he was younger, tried to get started there, and was so turned off by the racism of the South that he came back to Chicago.
Right. He was a driver on the Chitlin circuit. Yeah. He would drive the acts around. So knows a lot of people, though, and if that neighborhood could use anything, it's a tiny economic engine that a store can provide. So maybe there will be some support for getting it back.
Yeah,
back
nice
open.
piece, Robin.
Yeah, thank you.
Still ahead, Paula Deen wins a legal victory in the cast that destroyed her.
The crime and controversy. Should police be allowed to frisk people just because they look suspicious? The talker when we come back.
Tomorrow night on Fox, it's breakup time on So You Think You Can Dance. The final duos split up and dance for your votes with all-star dancers from past seasons. That's at 7, followed by Fox 32 News at 9.